Welcome back, Mitchell Road Mustangs, to another Splash of Science at my kitchen lab. Today we're going to talk about ecosystems. So we're going to try to create an ecosystem in a bottle, and I've got a couple of them right here that I already started so you could see them. And ecosystems are like little miniature greenhouses. And the best part about an ecosystem is that you can control the environment, you can change the soil, the type of water that you're putting in there. You can change a lot of different things to see if your ecosystem reacts in a different way. So here's what you're going to need for this experiment. You're going to need a little bit of gravel or rocks just for the bottom of your ecosystem. You're going to need two 2-liter bottles of soda, cleaned, and then remove all the labels. You're also going to need some wick, and they sell this at the craft stores. And it's for candles. You don't need a lot of that. If you can't get any of this, something that might work would be like maybe a shoelace, but it has to be cotton. So a cotton shoelace that you could cut and maybe unravel so you could fold it in half. You're going to need an X-Acto knife and some scissors and a drill. And for this part, you really need your parents. You can't do this by yourself. So I suggest you get help from your parents to get started. You're going to need some water and some soil, of course, and some seeds. Today I have some rosemary seeds that we're going to try to plant in our ecosystem. So let's get started. First thing you're going to do is you're going to take your bottle and you're going to go ahead with the marker, which, that's why we don't know that you need a marker. You need a marker, boys and girls. With the marker, you're going to go ahead and mark the bottom of one of the bottles. So I've already done that to this one. Can you see that? I took my marker, and you want to go about 2.5 centimeters from the bottom. It's the hard part of the bottle that you're trying to take off. This is the most difficult part. This is the part that you need your parents to help you with this part, okay? And then on the other bottle, you're going to go ahead and mark about 2 centimeters. See how where it bends and curves a little bit? You want to take off that bend and curve from the top. So I'm going to go ahead and take my marker. And again, it's about 2 centimeters from the top. So I'm going to go ahead and start right there and then just draw a line all the way around. Like that, okay? So now I have one of my bottles. I'm going to take the bottom part of it, and then the other bottom I'm going to take the top, okay? And you can measure the 2 centimeters if you need to. This part, the top part, is kind of easy. Make sure that you have some goggles, some safety goggles, and grab a parent for this, okay? So you need a parent to help you with this part. Maybe they can do this part for you, and then you can go do the rest for yourself. So you're going to need an X-Acto knife just to get started. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to press my bottle, make sure that my hand is away from that X-Acto knife, and just make a puncture. And then take it out, close that up. And then with my scissors, I'm going to look for that little area where I punctured that. And I'm going to go in and cut along the line that I've drawn. There it is. So I've got this. You're going to need both of these pieces. Don't throw any of it. Don't throw it away. So there's my top. Okay. And then this one, the bottom is so hard. Get a parent's help for sure. I'm going to go ahead and use my X-Acto knife again. Pull it out. And then get my scissors in there. And then start cutting at the bottom. I just want to take that hard part. And that's kind of something you can recycle. Maybe you can put a little bit of sugar water, put it outside to get some pollinators near your plants. Okay? Now, for the next step is you're going to take one of your lids and get your dad or your mom to drill a hole in that lid, okay? You can do it with a drill, okay? And if you're going to drill, do it outside or do it on a surface that's not going to damage your table or anything like that. And I'm going to go ahead and, so you're just going to put your cap, and then you're going to put your drill on it, and your parents can do this part as well. And then it'll drill that hole. You can reverse it, take it out, and there's your hole. Can you see that? Just a little hole. Okay, so that's all you need. So that's the hardest part. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about what are we going to put in there. Well, I'm going to put my seeds and begin with my wick or my shoelace. Make sure it's cotton shoelace. I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm only doing about 1.5 inches on each side, so it's not a lot of wick. I'm going to cut 2 pieces. Okay? So there it is. 2 pieces of wick, as you can see. Okay, they're separated. And this is the part you want to do now. I'm going to take my lid with the little hole in it, and I'm going to stick them through. I'm going to take my goggles off now because I don't need those. And stick it through the little hole, and if you need to get it wet to just get it started, you can do that. Okay, it's going to look like that. So you got the wick, the 2 little pieces on your cap, okay? And now I'm just going to go ahead and cap my bottle, okay? Take that off, that one off. And I'm going to go ahead and put it inside my bottle. Tighten it up. And then pull it down from the bottom, and then separate the top, the 2 pieces. You want them on different sides. So you want to, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to check. I'm going to put liquid or water in my container, because when I put this in here, what I want to do is I want to make sure that my wick has enough liquid, but it's not submerged all the way. So when I use my liquid to fill up my container, I need a little more liquid. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and continue adding liquid and checking it. And that's pretty good, boys and girls, because as you can see, my wick is right at the edge of the water. The top part of the lid and a little bit of the wick are not touching the water. So that's perfect, okay? So that's what I want it to look like. Now I can just set that aside, and I know I have to separate the wick on the top, and I'm going to go ahead and add my soil. At this point, depending on what, if you wanted to try and see if it made a difference, farmers usually use some sort of drainage. So I'm going to use some little rocks or pebbles for drainage, not a lot of them, just a couple in the bottom, to see if it helps when the water drains down, drains and the precipitation and the condensation going down. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding my my soil. And this soil is pretty moist, so it looks pretty good. Okay, there it is. I'm going to set it back into my container. So there's my first part. And now, all I have to do now is grab my seeds. Some seeds are really small, so you have to be careful, boys and girls, when you're handling them. You need a little container. Maybe you need the bottom. Can be used to put your seeds in there so you can see them. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my seeds. And I'm going to put about 8 to 10. Now, you don't have to use you don't have to use just rosemary. If you had more, maybe some herbs, maybe some mint, some basil, you could put different seeds in different places in here. And if you were keeping a journal, what I would do in my journal is I would draw a circle, and it'd be fun to keep a journal and figure out how long it takes for the seeds to germinate. I would draw a circle on my journal like that, and then I would look down and see where I put what. If you're putting different herbs in here, maybe the rosemary there, so I would put my rosemary and then write the name, rosemary. Just like you're looking at it from the bottom, okay? So yeah, you would like label where you put your seeds, and that would help you in your journal know what's growing, which one is growing faster, which one's slower. So you can, that'll help you in your journey, okay? All right. So I've got my seeds. I only have rosemary, so I'm just going to do rosemary. So I'm taking my seeds in here, and I'm putting them in there. I'm trying to keep them, separate from each other. I don't want to put them too close to each other. These rosemary seeds are blue, so you can kind of see where they're at. They've just been colored so that you can kind of find them in the soil, but not all of them are like that. So there we go. I've separated some of them. That's a lot of seeds in there. Should give me good growth. Okay, and now I'm going to just get a little bit of soil. Use a little cup. And just get a little bit of soil. Just sprinkle it on the top of those seeds, just to cover them up. Turn it around so you can see, maybe you can see a little bit of the seeds that are sitting there. I'm going to cover them up with soil. That was a big chunk of soil. There we go, break it apart. Alright, so now they're ready to go, and what I'm going to go ahead and do is maybe add a little bit of liquid at the very top. Not too much, but I want to get them started. Don't want to expose them, so I'm going to go very slowly. I'm going to add my liquid. There we are. Okay, so that's all you have to do. You're going to take your cap the top of your bottle. It doesn't have a hole. Remember, the only one that has a hole in the one, it's the one that's on the bottom. And then you're just going to put this on the inside of your bottle and cap it. Okay? And this one is a little bit short. So if you have one that's a little bit short, you can always bend your bottle and then add a little tape on the top, because you want to make sure that your ecosystem is nice and secure. So that can happen. That's happened to me before, that I've cut it too close. So this one's not as close, so this one's perfect. So you want to stick it on the inside. Be careful with the edge, because it might be a little bit sharp from where you cut it. But there it is. So it's an ecosystem ready to go. You can put it in a sunny window, and in about 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to start seeing your growth. There's some rosemary in there, and I have some oregano in there as well. Can you see that, boys and girls? And you can see the condensation and evaporation that's happening with the water in the system. Nice and protected. Okay? You don't have to do anything to it. It just sits in your window, and it'll continue to grow. And then once you've grown some of the herbs and maybe you want to smell them, you can take the top off. And I can really smell that. That rosemary smells amazing. Okay? So you can do that. On this one, what I did is I wanted to try to germinate a tiny tree, and it's doing really, really well. I don't know if you can see that through the condensation, but there it is. It's doing well. It's got some green on it, but this one's been sitting in here for about 6 weeks. So I hope that you have success with your ecosystems. So ecosystems really help you learn about how an environment can be controlled, and how it can grow. An ecosystem can be as small as a puddle of water or as big as a continent. So it helps you understand how that works, and it also helps you a little bit with biotic, which are living things like the soil, the plant, the seedling, the microorganisms that maybe live in our soil, and abiotic, which would be the sun, the wind, the rain, and how those work in an environment, in a little greenhouse, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you try this video, and if you have some success in about 3 to 4 weeks, go ahead and post it on Facebook. Remember, if you need to tape it a little bit, because the cap didn't fit, don't get frustrated, just tape it. Just make sure that it's nice and sealed so none of the moisture escapes from your ecosystem. Thank you so much, Mitchell Road Mustangs. I miss you, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great day.